the reality of trans sports participation is that it's like 0.01%.
So it's a non-issue.
It's basically not even happening, right? There are already rules at the Olympic level and at various levels to basically say that, you know, there are different scientific, which is pseudoscience, right? Rules. So there's all this emphasis on something that's not happening. And the point that I made on my show was that what this is going to impact is Black women in particular. Because look at Serena Williams. They call her a man. Okay, if you skinny, you too skinny. They call you a man. They attack Ciara. You know, if there's no body type that makes you exempt. And I asked this question of, you know, what's the threshold that we're willing to because if we're not going to care about trans, right, people of the trans experience, then what's your threshold for cisgender people that you're willing to subject them to?
That's right.
How many genital examinations? How many times are you willing to subject them to document verification? Or, well, we don't know, we can't prove it right here, so you got to sit out this game. How many times does that have to happen to your cisgendered child, where Black women are looked at as more masculine, where Black women are misgendered more than white women are, and girls? Or how much do we have to subject girls to presenting themselves a certain way so that they don't, you know? So that's one question. But, you know, for you all, I mean, I'm just curious, what is your take? Because, I mean, do you all think, like, why are we even in it? Because we're not really even competing, so why y'all so mad about it?
I think you're right. I think it's absolutely a non-issue when it comes to trans athletes. First, on a couple levels, just like on a scientific level, as a trans person, you know, as someone who takes testosterone and I'm changing medically, hormonally, biologically, you know, at some point, I am on par with the cis man as far as like strength and things like that. Same thing with trans women who are on estrogen and progesterone. This, you know, their body types and things, all of those starts to change, right? I don't want to get too much into because I don't like to get too much into the trans body, right? So I just want to put that out there. And it's a minuscule number of trans athletes, number one and number two and number three. They're never talking about trans men or masculine people. You know what I'm saying? Because this is about controlling women. Who can be women, what femininity is, and this is how propaganda starts. This is how like global, like really catastrophic propaganda starts. They start about, we are protecting women and children from these awful people. But at the same time, you are trying to control women and children. It's not about trans people at all. It's about control. And I also think, so you have the trans athletes, and that's gone into like, you know, trans folks in schools and trans parents and as a transgender person who is a parent, it's horrifying and super, super scary, right? And trans kids, and all of this is under the guise of protecting kids. But what it really is, and maybe it's a conspiracy, I don't know, but I think I'm right. I think what's happening is we have all of these like right-leaning legislators and evangelicals. That culture, that evangelical Christian culture, is so prime for abuse of children. And so this legislation is what they're trying to do is create a population of easy victims.
Yes.
Right?
Please.
You're gonna take out education, right? So, we just trans people, we can't let them in athletics. We gotta, you know, women and children, can't let them in the bathrooms. And they can't read these books either. And they can't learn about their bodies. And they can't learn about sexuality. When you take away people's knowledge of self, you are creating an environment where people are going to be primed to be victims, right? Who are going to be exploited sexually and who are going to be exploited physically. And they're using us as the boogeyman, and we are not. We don't want your raggedy ass kids. We don't want them. We just want to live. Okay, but they want your kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening. So I think that it's like kind of just like a bait and switch. Like, look over here. Like, why are we in it? They're making us to be this boogeyman, but we're not. We're not. We really don't have any. We shouldn't be in this at all.
From a media side, they found one story. So they found the story of the swimmer, Leah Thomas.
Can I break this down?
Break it down. I'm like, y'all found the story. Break it down.
Tag me in, Coach.
Okay.
That's how they find the story.
So in case you was up under a rock or whatever.
Come on.
Leah had went to this track meet, this swim meet or whatever, because she's a swimmer. Now, mind you, what they failed to realize, let me just give y'all what they said first, and then I'm going to tell you what they failed to tell y'all. Okay. So Leah goes and she wins this race. And this blows up because she won this race, and it was like this huge race, and some of these people were upset and all this jazz. But what they failed to tell you was that was Leah's last race of 5 races that she lost to horribly.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 races, she got burnt through the pool. She might as well have been a turtle. Okay?
Right.
That 5th race, something in sis or something in the rest of the girls was just like, we tired of burning you today. You had the energy. I mean, no, but because what it gave to me was that everybody else came in and gave their all, and they had been burning her all day. So by race number 5, they're tired. So what that was running on was the fumes. And she was able to take advantage of the fact that they was running on fumes the same way that any other athlete would have been able to.
Exactly.
But the problem is when they spit the story, they made it or they painted it out as if she had just won every race and that she got in the water and was Michael Phelps and that somehow Aquaman gave her a spear and she flew through the pool because that, trans people are in tune with everything that is good unless you're trying to make a point about how we bad. And then, it's all of that stuff. But it's just like when it comes down to it, the fact of the matter is that what I did not see, except for one time, and I wasn't even able to find it again, right? That's how the internet and how media works. I'm scrolling through the Facebook, and I got that information from a swimmer who was at the meet and lost against her. And she was just like, you know what? Fuck y'all in this bullshit. Y'all are coming for this girl. I swam that day. She lost horribly.
Yeah.
All day, this girl lost. And then the one time that she wins, y'all make it this big deal. Nobody cares. And quiet as is kept, neither did any of the rest of the girls that lost that day until they started to see it on the news. And then they did what people do. Oh, let's clout chase.
Yeah.
Let me hop on TikTok and get a couple of followers because y'all are going to support the fact that I'm a woman and I swam against this man and he burned me. Like they wanted to do all of the things, but nobody is really talking about the fact that, and going back to your point, they don't talk about trans men. And you know why? Not only because of the control of women, but because they over there beating the shit out of these cis boys in boxing and everything else. And it's cool when, we could talk about the detriments of trans women beating up on or running races or playing different games against cis women and how disproportionately unfair that is. But when you have a 5'6" trans man who's 125 pounds that you stick in a ring with somebody who's 20 pounds overweight because you can't wait to see him get beat up and then he mollywhops him all the way up and through, it's not a headline no more. It's not fun to talk about no more. And my thing is, if we're talking about protecting women and y'all don't believe that trans men are men, how come we are not protecting trans men from playing sports that y'all assume that they'll be beat up in?
Hello.
Right? If that's the case, if we want to protect women and we're not respecting this transgender thing that you think you are, then legally and biologically, according to me, you're a woman and I'm protecting you from this man that is sure to beat you up. But we're not having none of those conversations because it's never been about women and children. It's always been about not only the control, but it's been about the keeping of the secrets. What do you mean, Hope? Well, let me tell you. A lot of these rich white men at the top are fucking the girls. They're paying. Oh, we're going there.
Okay, let's go there.
Because this is the part of the story that nobody tells, right? And so y'all are paying the girls. And what comes with paying the girls is the ability to have your secrets shoved in the back of the closet. What comes with paying the girls is the ability to have a wife without the nag. What comes with paying the girls is the ability to have all of the things that you want and not have to worry about somebody getting pregnant on you and extorting you for millions of dollars. And so what happens is if we start to accept these things, if the girls start to be able to get sports deals and go to the Olympics and do all of the things, they no longer need me. I can no longer call her up at 3:00 in the morning and shove her face in this pillow for $200, $300, or depending on what kind of escort you is, $5,000 for the weekend. You know why? Because she's booked that weekend and she's going to get $5,000 in 30 minutes for delivering a TED Talk. And so she don't need me anymore. And so there's also an understanding that we cannot let this be normalized, because if they can normalize themselves, they can go get jobs. They can go and get a man that's willing to love them out loud. They can go and get family help and support now. They can do all of these things. So if I continue to alienate you, I can make you feel like I'm your only friend. Even though I'm the devil incarnate. And it's one of those things where it's just like everybody is like, oh, I don't believe nothing a nigga say, white, black, or indifferent. But these niggas be out here saying that they getting tricked and y'all believe every word. And why is that? Because you need to believe that in order to justify your transmisia. And that's a huge problem. So it starts with the sports, but then it moves into a social construct and a conversation that keeps us oppressed so that these men can keep fucking us and keep y'all upset at us and keep everybody in line so that they can do all of the things that they've been doing to us under the guise of protection of women and children.